coming up on the podcast. And to be perfectly honest, I was being overambitious by not giving myself a bit of a break after finishing a book, because I feel like that's really what my brain needs. Welcome to Amelia's Behind the Scenes Author Diary, an exclusive look at the behind the scenes misadventures of a 30-something mystery author. Discover how close she is to releasing her latest novel, hear exciting details about upcoming writing projects, and discover the lessons she has learned along her writing journey so you don't have to make the same mistakes. You can find the episode show notes and lots more information at authorpreneurpodcast.com/podcast. Hello writers, the writing has come to an end and the line editing and proofreading phases are underway. In the final hours of editing, I made a story decision that I suspected would cost me more money. While I waited for the next phase of the line editing process to begin, I dived into the process of preparing to self-publish my novella. This led me to finally make a decision about pre-orders after months of changing my mind. So stay tuned for all of this and much more. Just to let you know, this episode was recorded on Wednesday the 5th of January, so this show is primarily me looking back at October. If you're on YouTube, you'll notice that I've gone back to an audio-only version of the podcast. I've had to pull the plug on the video podcast episode because I couldn't do everything and something had to go. Throughout this episode, I'll be referencing tools and services that I've used. If you're interested in reading the transcript or would like links to anything that I've mentioned in the show, check out the very long blog post or edited transcript at authorpreneurpodcast.com/BTS045. And if you're new to this podcast, I want to say a huge thank you for stopping by and trying out my show. To those of you who have been faithfully listening, thank you for regularly listening in and supporting me. Your support means more to me than you know. In October, I spent 17 hours spread across 7 days working with my line editor. All in all, my murder mystery novella went through 3 rounds of line edits using track changes in Word. And I've discovered, or perhaps been reminded, that I don't like using Word, but it's a necessary evil. During the second round of line edits, I added a new scene and chapter to the candidate to tie up a minor loose thread. Based upon past experiences, I know my readers will want to see James passing on vital information to the police, which resulted in them securing evidence to arrest the villains. So the scene was necessary. Due to this new scene, I added an extra 894 words to the edited draft. I had expected to pay a little extra for the line edit, but my editor wasn't too bothered and agreed that the scene was a necessary addition. So that was great news. As of Sunday the 17th of October, the candidate is waiting in a queue to be proofread. While I waited for my murder mystery novella to progress in the proofreading queue, I decided to focus my attention on the next phase of the self-publishing process. In order to prepare my novella for publishing, I decided to write 2 autobiographies, one long and the other short. Next, I used Publisher Rocket to find long-tail keywords, and I made sure to use a few of the character terms that appear in the left sidebar on Amazon. Over on the blog post, there is a screenshot that will show you what I mean by the terms left sidebar. As I started to format my murder mystery book in vellum, I wrote the thank you or acknowledgement section and my author's note, which discussed the behind the scenes process of writing the story. To edit these sections, I listened to my computer read back the passages. After that, I used Grammarly to perform a quick proofread of the text. For some reason, I kept forgetting to write these sections of the book before I submitted my novella to my editors. Over on the blog post, I've included screenshots of the thank you and author's notes sections of the candidate, just in case you're curious about what I've included in these sections. If you've heard something useful in this episode that was helpful to you and you'd like to support the show, then buy me a coffee for as little as $2 at buymeacoffee.com/author80hey. Now that I had a formatted ebook, keywords, and a book description, I decided to set up a pre-order on Amazon, Apple, Draft Digital, Google Play, and Kobo while I waited to receive my novella from the proofreader. Yes, it is a risk, but I went back and checked and discovered it usually took 17 days before I received my book back from the proofreader. I decided on a pre-order date of the 23rd of November to allow for a 2-week buffer just in case my novella was held up with my proofreader. This decision did add a bit of anxiety to my everyday life. As I set up the pre-order, I decided to launch my story at a 99-cent sale price for the pre-order period up to a certain date across all stores. Next, I started formatting the advanced reader copy of the candidate and uploaded it to Booksprout. Over in Vellum, I duplicated the pre-order copy of the ebook and created a separate copy for the advanced readers. To help the readers decide whether they wanted to read my story, I created a sample with the first 25% or up to the end of chapter 1. Because my novella has a prologue, the readers get to see the first 2 chapters or scenes. For my email list, I created a different sample with extra chapters. After a 10-month absence, I emailed my list. I must admit I was super nervous about the results of this out-of-the-blue email. The decision to email after a long absence resulted in 6% of my email list unsubscribing. That's 4 unsubscribes out of a list of 81. It was a much better result than I expected. Because I'm a natural pessimist, I envisioned a mass unsubscribe. My email had a 46% open rate, which is pretty good, even if I had regularly emailed this list. And these statistics are on the other side of Apple deciding to not release a lot of data, and I have a funny feeling Gmail will also start not releasing a lot of data in relation to opens, potentially, but I don't know, that's just speculation. Over on my website, I made updates in preparation for the book's release. These changes were to the homepage, links to the advanced reader copy, and creating a new page for the book with links to find it online. As I watched the sign-ups for the candidate over on Booksprout, I considered creating a new book cover due to the low number of sign-ups. While spending Tuesday, the 12th of October, podcasting, I noticed I had developed a sore throat, and I put this down to recording 3 episodes in one day. On this day, I recorded an episode of the Book Nerd podcast and 2 episodes of the Authorpreneur podcast. As Saturday rolled around, my sore throat had developed into a cold which lasted for the next 2 weeks, thus putting an end to my writing, podcasting, and publishing plans for the next month. Because I remember, this is going to be TMI, but I remember feeling heavily congested to the point where I couldn't really concentrate. So that was what really put an end to my writing. And to be perfectly honest, I was being overambitious by not giving myself a bit of a break after finishing a book, because I feel like that's really what my brain needs. Earlier in October, I formatted 3 paranormal romance novels for a client I had acquired on my Etsy store. The book formatting task didn't require as many revisions as I allowed for in the original formatting package, which is a great thing. These 3 book formatting jobs mean that I'm now making a triple figure profit. I must admit, I would be making more money if I devoted more time to promoting and sourcing clients for my business, but I have a few other things distracting me from doing this. So that's all of the tasks I completed in terms of writing, book marketing, and email marketing. By the end of November, I want to have published the candidate and secured my first 10 book reviews from advanced readers. If you have any questions or have tips on book marketing that you would love to share with me, please come over to the blog post and share your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you for listening, and happy reading and writing, everybody. Thank you for listening to Amelia's Behind the Scenes Author Diary. You can find the episode show notes, back catalogue episodes, and lots more information at authorpreneurpodcast.com/podcast. I'm your host, Amelia, and I'll see you in the next Behind the Scenes Author Diary episode.